But there's nobody to justify this one. Was that enough justification?
It's not enough.
Are you convinced?
No,
Not at all.
So maybe before I open the floor, Ministry, you need to justify this more. Beyond what is written here, so that we can get you why you are still keeping this PU and why for a long time.
You want Kasaija to come here. Whenever there is a problem, the one who comes and starts. You want him to face the committee.
Is he represented?
No, he's well represented.
What is tired? You want him to come here because whenever we pass something, is the one
Who is the more tired?
see him everywhere.
Then,
Because the man is we do something with the honorable man, then we
Honorable
start
Kaji,
somewhere.
information is also Muchiga.
Exactly. We pass some things, then later you hear from the minister somewhere else. Just talking.
Okay, now, as far as we are concerned, I think you need to speak more. You need to say more, a little more on the privatization unit thing. Otherwise, it will be in jeopardy.
Privatization
No.
units
Mr.
have
Chairman, I
failed.
really don't think if you can be clear, because we have said the privatization has not been wound up. It is still operating because there is still work to be done.
But this work is being done by other agencies.
Which one?
For example, the litigation issues, we have Attorney General.
Yes.
It's actually general, but they are providing support.
No, which support?
So,
No.
I'm the chair.
Mm.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
entering chairman, and we are going to see how much more work is remaining.
He has no worker, that's why he's
Yeah,
Just close it.
I read, I don't know whether I read it where, but the Attorney General, we even gave a supplementary for this purpose of the litigation. This committee, Ministry of Finance, gave a supplementary budget to Attorney General to carry out this litigation. And also, Chair, there are other entities who are also in that litigation. There are those from Uganda Railways, there are those from Ministry of Works. They have never asked for a supplementary budget. They are working within their budget. So I don't know what is so special about Ministry of Finance that because they are backstopping the Attorney General in the litigation, they should now come for supplement. When Uganda Railways is the key. Uganda Railways is not asking. Ministry of Works is not asking. Attorney General is the lead agency, they asked yes, and we gave. So I do not see how the Ministry of Finance would use this as a basis to ask for supplementary budget. But also, Chair, what I thought, I have seen the response here. Chair, I would request that we have got people in this committee, colleagues, who are well grounded with these accounting things. We will need time they study this.
Yeah, we have.
They study this thing and advisors. After all, the minister has given us this. He doesn't need to get our response now.
Exactly.
We appreciate he has given
Very
us,
good.
but allow our colleagues who are grounded in it. We have auditors here. There are auditors here. They will advise us on this, which he has submitted, Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I want to submit on two issues. One, Yuri, in the first meeting, the issue arose between the 10 billion we appropriated in the financial year 2020-2021 and this one existing under the supplementary sheet. And also we requested for particulars or the breakdown of the 10 billion.
He has given it.
And Mr. Chairman, all this information has now been provided. What is remaining maybe is site visit
Exactly.
to appreciate what exactly is happening on site. And Mr. Chairman, in view of this, I am in full support of the supplementary hearing of 10 billion.
Seconded.
It has been fully justified.
Yeah.
That is my,
But
that is my view.
yes,
You have,
it is his opinion.
It is
I'll give you the floor.
and seconded.
Mm.
Mr. Chairman,
As procedure, Chair.
number 2.
After all, you don't, Mr. Chairman.
Chair procedure.
Procedure, Mr. Chairman.
Chair procedure.
Okay,
Mr.
he
Chairman.
came before you.
Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I am still
I'm
holding
on
the
the floor. I'm
floor.
on procedure, Chair.
Let him raise the procedure matter.
Chair, the practice in our committee work is that when we summon witnesses, we receive information from them. Once they have given us information, if we find that there is something lacking, we ask them to provide that. Once they have given us the information, we allow them to take leave,
Yes.
and then the committee takes a decision internally.
Yes.
And that decision includes as to whether the committee is in agreement with the presentation of the witnesses or whoever appeared before the committee, or no, that's an internal decision which we have to make. For now, we are only supposed to receive information or whatever information we need, and that's how you call them. So, procedure, Chair, is it right? Are we proceeding well? To start pronouncing ourselves before even we internally discuss and then we as a committee, before our visitors. Is it procedure right, Chair, for us to go to that level now? Because each one of us will now start pronouncing, I support, I don't support. I have nothing to do with my senior brother, but I will proceed well.
Yeah, now, I think we are still probing into this matter. So let's get more details first before we can run to the conclusion.
Exactly.
But you had raised an important point about the other 10 billion we appropriated.
Yes.
I hope you still need that information because you have already run to a conclusion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the minister's letter
Talks about this current 10 billion.
the minister's letter, can I go back?
Annex 2.
The very last one. The second last paragraph. The very last one, the one in the budget, from the second last paragraph.
Give him another copy. There are copies here.
Then the second last page. Then the second last paragraph talks of the money in the budget.
Mr. Chairman,
You have got it.
the minister's attachment, yes, I've got it. The minister's attachment, paragraph 2, states the addition of Uganda shillings 10 billion in the budget for financial year 2020-2021 will be used for staff recruitment, staff training, and other operational expenses at the Namanze Center. And this is one of the issues we had raised, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my point number 2, I would like to pick it from where Honorable O.O. Stopped on privatization unit. Mr. Chairman, when you look at the annex, first of all, to begin with the start, the narration, the original narration, Mr. Chairman, was that all the 3.9 billion was to cater for staff salaries. But now in the annex, the staff salaries only account for 2.6 billion. And from the arguments I pick from here, the assumption is that CU is winding up. It is in its final stages. I'm just wondering why you have to keep this store structure in an entity that is in the process of winding up. Mr. Chairman, my concern number 2 is on outstanding invoices as at March 2020, 103 billion. We want to know how these invoices arose and what they relate to. Mr. Chairman, the same entity is spending on medical insurance an amount in excess of 81.9 million.
Where is that?
And group personal accident. This is also insurance colleagues
Where is that?
of 103 million. This is in the annex. And Mr. Chairman, when you analyze rent space for Q4 is 108 million, meaning rent for the entire year is in excess of 433 million for an entity which is winding up. Then the same entity is renting for documents 95 million, just the store, keep documents.
Thank you for
Mr. Chairman, the same entity has arrears for internet, 89 million, among many others. Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering whether these obligations relate to this entity or they are just planning simply because we asked for it. Mr. Chairman, I want this explanation.
Thank you so much for that technical submission.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I also want to take from where my colleague has come. First, I wanted to clarify one thing. Out of the 3.9 organization unit national salary, 2.6, my colleague Honorable says 2.6 is strictly for the 6 members of BRIC. It's not for this other staff. 2.6 is for the 6 of only the 6 members.
What's the bridge?
BRIC.
Where are we going to go?
What's the bridge? I don't know. The minister
How do you know
can
that?
explain. Go to, because there is a what?
90, it's
a
not a total, in short.
These are
not a
numbers.
total.
These are numbers. Directors do what? These are numbers. BRIC members 6. So they are the ones claiming 2.6. So the salaries is
Yes, that's what the document
3.9
says.
less 2.6. That should be 1.3. Yes, this here, you're the one who have given
It's
information.
there.
So they need to
You gave another analysis, how many people, how many senior legal officer, 1, principal accountant, 1, BRIC members, 6.
You are in line.
They are the ones asking for 2.6. So the minister should explain that. Number
Link
2,
those
Chair.
2 pages.
Number 2, Chair, on my submission, I remember when you last adjourned, we had requested the minister, when you come next time, you also tell us not only how you want to use the money, but also where you got the additional what? Resources. I think maybe I was not there. The minister has not come clear on that. He also come clear on where he has got the additional resources to warrant this supplementary expenditure.
Thank you. Honorable Siku.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted more light on the minister submitted that there are still some outstanding work. Is it possible to have an estimate of what these works are and how long these works will take? This is in view of the costs which are associated with maintaining this office. You can see in terms of rent, in terms of other operational expenses. So it would be good for us to have a picture of when will this facility actually wind up, so that we are able also to know, apart from this, what our future commitments are.
Mwana wa Kivumbi? Can you use the mask, please? With the nose, with the nose.
God and the God.
Where are those?
They are there.
Oh, and they are at the bottom.
God earns 2 million point one. God earns 2.1. Officer attendant earns that.
Mayor Rana.
The mail run was 2 million.
Mayor earns 2 million.
Yeah, that's salary, gross.
That is how it goes. If you make a deduction, that will be sound also a little bit on the higher side. I don't know how that comes out. But the way you come, just find out. 2. If it's a government department, if it's a government department, it's a form of other pay structures of government. You need to pay money this way. So we want a justification of how you arrive at this figure. You can say secretary, receptionist, and that amount of money. Or you are just making up figures so that you add up and come up with this total. To justify that you give you the money. The other issue that I find is that under the regulation, you commit government when you don't have money for this area. Because I think they are guys
Commitment control. Commitment control.
which commitment control. The Public Sector Management Act is very clear on that. You can no longer commit government where you don't have. So how did the situation of these people commit government when they do not have the money to accumulate all these bills? So that's also breach of the law. The other one is that we are remaining with 1 month and had I don't know, 14 days or about 15. So, are you saying you have not been paid? That these people are not being paid? So, now when you go to this thing here, this research institute here, the last time the minister was here, he talked of some figures of 30 billion that they require, and that in the budget we only provided 10. I've studied the justification here, people. You don't see the submission of the minister then and the write-up now. So the minister was here, made the submission, which is contrary to what is right to tell us whether this money meets the criteria of an acceptable or an avoidable. Because to the best of my knowledge, this money can be pushed properly to the next financial year. So what magic are you going to do under the big money? To spend money in 45 days, 10 billion. This is another way of determining public resources. It is taken to agencies that lack capacity, and later on they will be reflected and state balances which we will never trace. And that has been the common currency. So I think I have a strong opinion, contrary to what Mr. Mr. talked about, that this is bad money, not a prudent way of running public finance, and that this money will most likely go to wastage. and agencies that normally come from the side of money in 45 days, most of which is a conduit. So justify that you are not a conduit for really wrongly spending this money. And I would demand them, because you talked about here, when I read the analysis, nothing is like urgent. No, not urgent, don't say it's very urgent. So I just believe this is bad money, the wrong investment, and this money here needs to be investigated here. Not just beyond this, on how it comes up with this kind of coming to this amount. So I have a strong opinion on 10 billion that it is bad money, going to be spent in a bad way, and to be a waste of public resources. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman.
On this side. I'm coming to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You'll wind up. You'll wind up.
Mr. Chairman, I want to first, for the benefit of the members of this committee, to contribute the fact that I've been fortunate to visit this center in Amman. And there is some marvelous work which has been done here. I also want to note that in this country, such infrastructure has been set up in some places and not utilized on the account of failing to provide money.
What procedure?
That we're fortunate to visit Harvard Gold to this history.
He's a member of Science Committee.
The member of Science Committee.
Vice Chair.
Last year. Yes, but we'll be very careful with people of that nature. Because they should not come here for influence peddling. Yes,
Yes, Vice Chair.
Yes, it's the Vice Chair.
Giving information.
And honorable distributor to that.
No, relax.
Come here.
The chair is going to rule.
So that is
Information.
Mr. Chairman,
He was moving on procedure.
that doesn't matter. Let me give because there is a report here which you have read. If you read the last paragraph, the third last paragraph of the report of the unit, it says clearly that the procurement processes for acquisition of required goods and services for this financial year have all been made. So they have prepared what they are waiting for the money to complete. So it is very clear in the statement here that they will use the money for the prepared procurement, they have made orders, and like
That's now a different matter from the procedure. Yeah, it's a different matter. I think when you are presenting in this committee, pretend as if you are just a member of budget committee without prior information.
You should tell us why you did budget for something which
the floor. I think you contributed.
Yeah, so make your submission on technical grounds.
Mr. Chairman, we are here to legislate for this country, not to tell lies for our personal interests. I therefore have to tell you something on which I'm knowledgeable. I will also tell you that the same sector budgeted for that money last year was not provided for. When we budgeted again this year, that particular provision was not provided for. And now we have been clearly informed here. There is no benefit in spending 30 billion and then we don't operationalize that facility.
$30 million.
$30 million. So
120 billion.
we have been informed here that the procurement process has already begun.
Yes.
To be in position to meet the deadline of the 40 so many days left of this financial year. So I think this committee should consider seriously.
Wear your mask.
To have this facility operationalized fully for the benefit of this country.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank my colleagues who have contributed. But I have some supplements somewhere. First, I want to thank Honorable Sassoon, privatization unit. I think he has done good work for me. I don't want to add much, but maybe what I wanted to, Mr. Chairman, through you to ask the Minister of Finance to tell us, apart from the ministry, who are the officials from privatization unit who are here to explain, like the professor has done. Okay. Well, because these issues we want him to explain. Otherwise, we would be happy if we can withdraw, like the fine spine has did. Because the thing, the way my colleagues have explained, you can see a loophole somewhere. Mr. Chairman, I think let's agree as a team, as a committee, that we should not continue discussing the 10 billion before we visit the facility. And I want to suggest that let's agree tomorrow at 10, we visit those who have time, we visit there, then after lunch, we resolve. Yeah. Because I think my brother Mutebi has been there. That's why he can convince us that we proceed and approve. But it is very, very, very unfortunate, especially what we are seeing. After we deliberate on something, people are taking us for granted. Actually, people want to know, who are those people on this committee of budget? Everybody is asking. Other colleagues of members are thinking we are the ones causing us problems. Mr. Chairman, you should know that. The professor is my, I respect him very well. I know him. I trust him. But Professor, really, we are also human beings. We are serving this country. We don't want to pass something and then tomorrow another person is challenging us. Then, Mr. Chairman, tomorrow is not very far. On Monday, let's first go there and visit this facility. And then we resolve. There is nothing wrong with that. And Mr. Chairman, I want to disagree with the professor on the issue of the machine, which is already on standby to be procured from India. The whole factory has one machine. You mean if it is procured if it is taken by another company or another company, we cannot get a machine. What type of a company with one machine from India? So let's wait. We should not rush. Let's wait, go and visit, then we resolve and hand over the money to the Mr. Chairman, lastly, I want to thank the Ministry of Finance, at least because we were asking for explanatory notes, and at least some extent they are there. That's why our colleagues, the technical people, could come out with these questions. But otherwise, Mr. Chairman, let's not waste time. And I want to beg you, Mr. Chairman, let's visit these areas.
Yeah, the point is already made.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Seeing is believing. I cannot agree with you more. Kano.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I think we should have trust among ourselves. First of all, our honorable colleague knows.
You are the one who moved the 20 million first. Tomorrow you are the one who's going to betray us again. You just tell us. We were here with you in the committee. We were here with the committee. And you are the one who was the first one who
Can we have order, please?
No, we don't want double dealers in this committee. You will not scare me. No, you will not scare me. You were here. And you are the first person. person
I
to
suppose
take
it's
lead. No, you will not scare me.
I think we need services of a sergeant here.
Because he was the first person here to come out and attack the committee members.
Check, I think.
No, we cannot accept this time we are extremely. Osanze Turaba. You are right.
Honorable Mugumes.
When he was talking, I was listening attentively.
You know what I want?
Keep your peace, please. Honorable Kajinde. Keep your peace.
This discipline also should be really dealt with in this committee. When the gentleman, the honorable was talking, I was keeping quiet. But what I want to say to the chairman, what you is doing is very, very strategic and very important for this country. The more we delay the operations, we are losing. Therefore, my proposal is that we must trust the technical people, we must protect, we must trust our scientists, we must trust our honorable beings who have been there, who know what is happening, and we should move. We are wasting a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time, Mr. Chairman. So my proposal is we must move and support this institution to do the best job for this country, and we all know it. It is not a secret. We should proceed to Chairman. Having said that,
Chair, the procedure issue I wanted to raise. The colleague earlier on rose on the same thing, that when we are here, we are getting information from the technical people. After that, we sit as a committee and deliberate. We don't go ahead and decide now before even the work. That's the issue.
Mr. Chairman, I want to put in record. And when this one of the thing I've been a traitor, I've never been a traitor. When this matter of 2010 was raised here in this room, I opposed it.
No.
I did it.
Maybe you kept quiet.
And we leave that one. That matter should not. Okay. Is there anyone else who wants to speak about it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
Can we listen to OO?
For me, Chair, I have two submissions I want to make. One to Yuri.
Honorable Ngabirano, please.
I have no problem with the Yuri getting the money. All I need is just one thing, Chair. We are lucky we have got a chair of science and science
And technology.
Science and technology. Most. And we also have the minister here. Let them just tell us one thing. One thing. And that's why we are here. Which Honorable Mohammed Fudu raised. You tell us as to whether his request, just because we should be around that, not the processes. I even don't know why you brought the professor. What we need is not about the process. All we need is, does this request meet the parameter of unavoidability and unforeseeability? That's all we need from you, Honorable Minister. I don't know why you disturbed my good professor here. For what? What did the professor come to do? All we ask you, just tell us. Because as a committee, our role is not to reject your request, but does it meet the requirement of the law? That is all.
I'd like to give information. I'm taking it from the submission of the Honorable Muteki. Civil is saying that this matter appeared while they were considering the budget. Now, if a matter appeared while considering the budget, and we did not fund it, it cannot be brought under the supplementary. That's what we've been doing in the
Mr. Chairman, can I say something?
No, wait, he's still holding the floor.
You're giving information or?
Are you giving information?
Yes. Can I give you information?
You give me information.
Thank you all for giving the word. Mr. Chairman, I wouldn't be comfortable when we operate as if this is the first time the committee has started working, and as if we are seeing extraordinary things. Mr. Chairman, I have urged before, and I still urge, it's good even the minister is here, the rest of the team. How many times have we told the entities that this one you will get a supplementary? Very many times. So when a member argues here that the committee oversaw it, and they never budgeted for it. Why are they coming now? I want us to be realistic when we are making our argument.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the information you should have given us. You give us that information and we process it. You tell us that it is you, the finance committee, or the most committee, that actually advise that this money would be. Then we have that information, and then we proceed. Chair, for me, on Yuri, I think we don't need to waste time visiting that institution. These people need the money. Let the Minister of Finance and the relevant stakeholders in the committees just assure us that it meets the parameters, and we go to the House and we tell them that this request meets the parameters, the legal requirements for supplementary. So this is our position. Chair, that's on Yuri. On the other one. Yeah?
Privatization unit.
I want to thank Honorable, my senior colleague Musa Sisi.
Is your junior?
Yeah?
Is your junior?
Yeah, he's my senior colleague.
in the House.
Oh, in the House, okay.
For shedding light
Yeah.
on this unit. Now, what I need more clarification is that I want to know the legal status of this unit, these workers. Are they contractual workers? Is this a department of Ministry of Finance? Or is it just an independent unit like we have got DC, UNRA, KCCA?
Authority.
Because, Chair, the salary of the directors can pay 6 MPs. The salary of directors alone can pay 6 MPs.
But do you know how many directors there are?
No, there are only 2. There are only 2.
2 directors.
Yeah, there are only 2. And
Yeah.
so fine, that's okay. So, Chair, what I want to find out from the minister is that this is the Ministry of Finance which plans our budget. And these entities within them. I have seen their excuses, their argument that originally the money they were getting was just being consumed, but now they have been forced to take the consolidated fund. I thought by law, all money must go to the consolidated fund and then it is appropriated. But for finance, I think they have been doing it in a different way. I just need a clarification, Honourable Minister. You clarify for me the status, the legal status of this privatization unit and why the workers there are paid different rates from other government workers. Because like principal accountants, we also have principal accountants in the government, but I want to know why the ones who are, even in the finance, that there are others. I don't know why these ones aren't different from the others. But finally, Honorable Chair, I want Honorable Minister to tell me that you are the ministry that plans, that budgets for this country. Why didn't you foresee that this unit was going to have, because even money going to the consolidated fund, it is your action. It is you direct that money should go to the consolidated. Why didn't you budget for this money? I just want to see that. If you can clear that air for me, I have no problem.
I think a related question to what you are putting now. You see on that page they are giving us the monthly salary. Gross. You know, what is it that that the government is owing to these people? Is it this monthly salary, 1 month, 2 months, 7 months? And what has been happening? Have you been paying these people? Because it is not clear whether you have been paying them or you just want to begin paying them. The analysis doesn't come out. It doesn't make sense. You know, because when you add these figures, you will be well beyond 3.9 billion.
Chair, additional information.
I think let's get this preliminary information.
No, this one is related to what you have just said. Chair, on top of that, the minister should provide us with a structure. Because this is not the first time they are paying the salary. What have they been paying? Let them give us the structure, the salary structure, so that we know what exactly these people have been paying and when they stop paying.
This is just they have gotten
the one.
No, it's not clear when you stopped paying. You know, you're giving us a monthly bill, a monthly bill that is, I think, over 3 billion shillings. You know, it's over 3 billion shillings. So what have you been paying? You know, and why are we in this kind of situation? Because wages must be foreseen. You cannot argue that you did not know that you are supposed to pay your worker. A worker that has been with you for so many years, I think since 1991. You know, and now you are saying that you need a supplementary to pay for your wages.
Which a month?
So now, Minister, as you submit on that one, please also clear the air why this supplementary should not have been foreseeable and why it could not be avoided, so that we deal with that legal requirement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As the
What is again holding meetings as a clerk?
informed this honorable committee.
Chair. What is the clerk? He's all the time.
Can you please call back that clerk? He's supposed to be here.
What is he doing? He's supposed to take it.
As the ED told you, we received a grant of $30 million to set up this state-of-art facility at Namamve. $30 million is an equivalent of roughly 110 billion Uganda shillings. And as you see the trend, even with the COVID coming in, many of these countries globally, people are really going to be thinking about producing what they consume and trying to export the excess of what they have produced. And one of the strategies that we have as a country is industrialization, focusing on import substitution and export promotion. And for us to do agro-processing and industrialization, we need machines to add value to these products. If you look at one of the things that have been actually increasing the cost of manufacturing is setting up importing machines and raw materials from outside the country. So we think that this facility is very important because part of the element is making machines. Machines that make machines and spare parts. So instead of importing something from UK, from Europe, at almost 5, I'm just coming to, please. I know Chibumba, I think we do respect each other, and you know other things we do together. But so we cannot avoid operationalizing this facility. We have already invested 110 billion Uganda shillings. It needs to be operationalized. So, and for it to be operationalized, it needs money. And as Honorable Mr. has talked about it and others, during the budgeting process, there are some things that we are supposed to approve, but they are not approved, and we can't go into that discussion because all of us know what happens during the budgeting process. So this expenditure is unavoidable because if you don't spend this money to operationalize this facility, it means that the 100 billion is just lying there. And yet we are talking about, in a wake of COVID, to do import substitution. We want, for example, we are borrowing almost 500 million US dollars from the IMF, and part of it, 1 trillion, is going to UDB. UDB wants support manufacturing, small, medium, and big manufacturing. And for this to work, we need machines that are going to add value, beginning with our rural areas. So we think this is an unavoidable expenditure in the context of the requirement of the supplementary. Thank you, sir. Point, Chris is here to speak about the pending work with the privatization unit and maybe shed light on friends, these people were already recruited. and they were recruited on these terms. And as you know, it is unconstitutional. Let me not go into unconstitutional, but it is not normally easy when we have recruited somebody at a certain salary scale to bring it down after some time when he's still at the same work unless something has happened. So that's why we could not change the salaries. But the most important thing which the committee wants to know, what is the pending work with the privatization unit? Why are you still existing? Chris, can you?
Yeah, and also why did you foresee?
And why did you foresee this fixed expenditure?
Yeah, but Minister, before you come with me, second on the first one, under URI, you need to comment on why this expenditure was not budgeted for in the normal budgeting process, considering that it is so important the way you have explained. You know, why can we foresee the need for this?
Additional information.
Additional
information. You already highlighted the importance of it. And how you even went and got the loan.
No, it's
when you are getting a loan, you know that they're coming to build
it's a grant.
A factory,
It's
grant.
yeah.
They're coming to build a factory or build whatever rooms, and they needed the equipment, the machines there. Why you didn't allocate these people money? If you allocated, why you didn't fund them? And now you are saying this is unforeseen. Sincerely, are you being serious?
No, but you see, Mr. Chairman, we needed to clear this. What we are doing here, we are asking a supplementary. And the supplemental appropriation is also appropriation. Yes, just a second. Because as Honorable Musasi told you, there are things that we miss out in the main appropriation. For one reason or the other. For one reason or the other, Mr. Chairman, you have been a chair of this budget committee. Even this committee itself has in one time or the other said no, you will consider that one later because of some other things that were there. Yes. I'm not blackmailing Parliament. But for this particular one, Mr. Chairman, for this particular one, I would really hold the no, just a second. Wait. No, I cannot blackmail you colleagues, you know that. I cannot.
Minister, maybe you would have clarified when you got the grant. What was the design project period? Construction. When was construction supposed to end, whereby we are supposed to move to the next stage of operationalization? When we know the cutoff there, it could be a reason why you didn't provide. It could be negligence, something like that.
Thank you for that. Vice, thank you very much for that guidance and information. Can you take it from that side? Yeah.
Less than 2 years, they deliver the infrastructure and the machines that they provide before the grant. By September of last year, that's when we realized that by December they will be completed. That was already in the middle of the current financial year. And so the request for supplementary started last time because we wanted to maintain the momentum and operationalize as soon as possible. I think we have the answer.
Point of clarification. I think I've got it. No. I want you to clarify. Mr. Chair, in any project management standard, there was no way you can do a project design. And the key component that you require to operationalize that project, you don't plan for it. And that one gives you a grant, build for you a very expensive infrastructure, and leaves out the very key component you need to put that whole grant properly. So for us to say that that's the missing link, what equipment are you missing?
But we read it.
To say that this one, if it's not there, and the Chinese went out there without a grant to design a project
And the key components like a key to begin operationalizing it is not part of that grant. That you need now to stampede Parliament. We need to give him which point project has ever been designed that way, whether a grant or whatever. You tell us, you are a professional in project design. Can you design any project sensibly? And it comes to the point of operationalizing and the key components that you are talking about. Which speaks that you are using a grant project of 2 billion. Which is not, which component are you using to start with? That was not part of the grant. They gave you a grant. But China gives you a partial grant. Which one? Mr. Chairman, I think you elaborated that. I think you need to look at it. Okay, I've seen it.
Let's say, pass this number, but for privatization units, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think the conclusion here, I think you should not get him there.
What is okay?
Because he says, according to original design, the project will take 2 years.
But the contractor delivered the project in a period that was less than the 2 years.
Yes.
That was originally anticipated.
Yes.
And on that basis, a need arose to get this money.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can go with that.
That's why you are taking
Chair, if I know the professor very well, this project started in 2015.
18.
2018.
18.
He said 2018.
So what was in 2015?
Nothing.
Sit down.
2018 is yours.
Okay. I think what we can do, tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we shall go to see those who need to see.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, we shall go to see this facility.
I'm now.
Those who don't want to go, don't worry.
I'm comfortable.
Yes.
I'm comfortable.
Uh-huh. So, Professor, 10 o'clock, we shall be there. Any missing links, I think, will be clarified there. But if I may make a statement, this is a plant that Uganda has been waiting for a long time. It is a game changer, like he put it, for our industrialization process. So we badly need it. And whatever we need to do to get this one running, we should do so. Yeah, so that we get it running yesterday. We badly need it. Now, members,
Professor can take leave.
I think the professor can take leave if he needs to.
Mr. Chairman.
Professor,
Mr. Chairman.
you can take leave.
You can take leave and prepare for tomorrow's visit.
Tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you very much about.
I hope you are not going back to Yuri.
That one, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. Because that's what I wanted. You allay fears of my colleagues, and that is okay. Mr. Chairman, on privatization unit, I want to really ask a question to the minister or the officer from privatization unit. These were not recruit. They are new. These were not new recruitment. It was not new recruitment. They knew these civil servants were there. And then you have the budget for the whole annual budget for the whole year, and these salaries are not in the budget.
It's a monthly budget, by the way.
Monthly budget, and they are not there. Now, in such a situation, because the driver is not on the management, top management of this privatization unit, and now the month has gone, he has not received his salary. In such a situation, what do we do? Okay. Do we penalize the driver or we penalize the management? There must be something really we need to investigate.
Okay, sir.
I wanted to also suggest maybe, Kenneth, you can shed some light on the fact that this is salary, and privatization unit is saying we collected the money and put it under the consolidated fund. and we knew that this was a fixed cost. Can we shed light why it was missed out in the main?
Collected without any planning. Just
Yeah. Can we shed light on that one? Yeah. And then Chris will answer the question of the pending work by the privatization unit. Can you answer the pending work, and then Kenneth will answer that?
when is it concluding?
And when is it concluding? Briefly.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members. Just to shed light on what privatization unit is still doing. Okay, my name is Christopher Mujisha. I'm the director, Paracetamol Montangin, and also the accounting officer of privatization unit. Yes. So I just want to share with you the key activities that currently privatization unit is involved in. Right now, privatization unit is coordinating critical transactions in the energy sector. That is the case of Umeme, because Umeme's concession is coming to the end. So as a country, we need to see how do we ensure continuity of distribution of electricity in the country. We are also coordinating key projects in the mining sector, transport sector, Uganda Railways Corporation. The previous concession arrangement somehow did not work out, so now we have to look at it again and see how it can be structured. We are also coordinating key transactions. Yes, Kilembe Mines, that is in the mining sector, and also in the electricity sectors. I also want to mention that we do undertake oversight of public enterprises and also initiate reform initiatives in the public enterprises that are not performing well. I just want to share with you that some of them which are actually doing very well, like National Water, we are part of the team that initiated those changes, those reforms in National Water that is doing well. You asked for an example, that's one of them.
What are you doing there now?
Now we are looking at different...
Initiating. What are you doing there now?
No, what we do, honorable member, we do follow up, we do monitor their performance to ensure that set up critical indicators, they continue to achieve them. But we also focus on others that are not doing well. Yes.
Did you privatize National Water as well?
No, it's one of those parastatals that remain under government, and our oversight mandate cuts across even those public enterprises that will remain under government. Then we are also supporting the Attorney General in answering ongoing critical litigation in the courts of law and international arbitration, which will save government from potential huge liabilities. These are ongoing transactions. PU is the custodian of key records that are very instrumental in these cases. We also have the institutional knowledge about these matters, so work very closely with the Attorney General's office. I don't know if I could also touch on other questions which were raised by members.
Yeah, but you complete this one. Now, Uganda Railways.
Yes.
You know very well you gave us a very bad deal. And now, I think we are under arbitration in London.
Yes.
We have lost a lot of money on this deal. And as if that is not enough, you want the Uganda government to continue spending money on you.
No,
After losing a lot of money because of a bad deal we had with Uganda Airways.
Honorable member.
A bad deal with Umeme.
Yes.
You know? Really, can you justify why you are still in existence?
No, honorable members, there have been gains, of course, and some challenges. There's no program that can go sometimes without some challenges. But there are also very good gains, honorable members. When we talk about Umeme, which you've said, we also know some of the good things that they have been able to do in terms of extending the network, although they still need to improve. And what we really do in the monitoring is to ensure that they improve on those areas where they have gone wrong. The case of Kirembe Mines, which you talked about, or Uganda Railways.
You finish Umeme. There is a ministry in charge of energy.
Yes.
We have ERA in charge of regulating the sector.
Yes.
Why should we still need your agency?
Okay. Thank you, Chairman.
Chair, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What is so important they are doing that if we did without them, those organizations might collapse?
Chair, one from me.
Okay, one more.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. This is a very golden opportunity because in the Natural Resources Committee, we have been complaining about the PAD Act, the PAD Statute. This unit continued holding hostage the entities that are under the Ministry of Energy, which were privatized like UMEME, UEGCL. So we have the right mechanisms under the ministry to handle those agencies. And the ministry here has said that within 6 months the act is coming for amendment or winding up. So, Honorable Chair, I want to tell the officer here that we have a lot of issues with you as a unit. You are stampeding the work of those agencies. You have not released them. You are not monitoring them. You are actually a very, very big obstacle. So I think you should just give us a timetable when you are winding up to leave them free so that they can perform their duty very properly.
Chair, I want a procedure issue. My procedure issue, Chair, I really have a lot of interest in the discussion on the floor as to the relevance of whatever of the agency. But my point of interest is that that conversation is not relevant to what is at hand. There is a sector committee that can consider that. For us, I expect this gentleman to justify the need for this money. And the questions are clear. He tells us the importance. It may be important, not important. The question is, why do you need this money? Justify why you need this money. That other question of your value, what you do, what you don't do, is for another day.
I think you need it to justify why you should do it. Money.
Why does it need the money?
Chair, I just want to give my colleague here. Chair, I just want to supplement what Honorable Governor is saying. Chair, that committee, that unit, I was a member of the Physical Infrastructure Committee. And we discovered that they had actually grounded the railway system in Stock. So what we recommended.
We are still around.
It's another meeting.
Prince, you are listening to members.
So what I was saying, that I was a member of the Physical Infrastructure Committee for several years. And we established that that private was actually holding that fort and they actually grounded the railway system. So we recommended that Minister of Works takes over the railway management. And that's why you see there is some semblance of life in the railway sector. Because it was taken over from, they are no longer in charge. You should not deceive. It was taken over from the board. He was taken over from ministry because they had grounded everything. They have no competence. They don't have any strategic direction. So the system was just grinding under them. So, Honorable Chair, I just want to supplement what Honorable Governor was submitting on.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
With that additional information, I think you can now clarify it better.
Okay, I hope I got it all. You said, what are we still doing if there are key institutions that are set up to do this work?
I think members are saying that you are such a great liability.
Honorable members, the PAD Act does actually provide for our unit to work closely with the sector ministries. We don't do work, we don't overtake, we don't actually, like has been mentioned, take over institutions. We are actually supposed to work at arm's length, and that's what we do. And we work closely with the sector ministries. We do not work in isolation, but all these activities that we do them in close consultation with the sector ministries.
Okay, so I think what we need here
What probably could have been presented is a bill for winding up.
Okay, about justification. Honourable members, there was a question that was raised about why do we need this money. As you heard, privatization unit is ordinarily funded from the divestiture proceeds, divestiture account. But all these funds from where now, which would have ordinarily funded privatization unit activities, was transferred to the consolidated account. The Ministry of Finance.
Advice from whom?
No, it was on the directive of the Minister of Finance.
Okay.
Now, as a result, privatization unit now did not have funds to meet salaries, to meet some of the operational expenses, and actually to undertake part of the work. Now you ask that for how long have workers not received money? That's indeed a big issue. Workers have not had salaries since February. Yes, since February. Because there are no funds, honourable members. We don't have any money.
Transfer the money, should have known the unit exists and therefore should have made a plan. You are drawing money from that basket.
Yes.
Then you transfer to the consolidated fund without even putting in consideration. I think Kenneth should answer this.
I think that's why there is this supplementary.
You relax for the time being. Okay. Just relax. Let's get Kenneth. Explain why you put away money.
Okay. I think, Mr. Chairman, first of all, thank you and the members for the issues which you have raised. And I think particularly, Chairman, you raised a fundamental issue regarding the winding up of the privatization. Of course, as members, you all know, the privatization process was established under the PAD statutes. Now, in order to wind up this whole process, government will have to come up with a winding up bill. And I think that is a fair question, of course, to ask the government, given where we have gone in the privatization process. Because as government now, of course, we need to review the whole process, from when we started. As you know, of course, the parastatals were categorized, we are put in different categories. Look at the requirements, where we are now, and what additional work needs to be done. Now, it is true that the PU, the privatization unit, used to be funded using the proceeds, from the divestiture of public enterprises. But of course, also as we know, the divestiture process also has many other liabilities beyond, paying the salaries and wages, of the technocrats. So part of that money has actually been going towards meeting some of those other liabilities. Now, to the extent that now we are in a situation where we do not have resources from the divestiture account to meet the requirements of the unit, but unfortunately also out of, I would say actually omission on our side, the unit wasn't budgeted for. So the budget which was appropriated by Parliament does not include, the salaries, as he has said, for February up to the end of the financial year. So our request to the members is that we request that you allow us at least to get a supplementary funding to be able to meet the salaries of the unit, because this is a contractual obligation. Already these people have a contract with government as per the law, and they definitely must be paid their wages. So our request is that let's go ahead. We request that Parliament approves the supplementary. We pay the wages of the unit for the months when they have not been paid, and then the rest of the issues, the legal and policy issues regarding the privatization unit, then the Minister of Finance will come with a complete paper, a comprehensive paper to address those issues. But as of now, Chairman, I think the most urgent issue is actually meeting, the salaries of these workers who definitely have a contract with government. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, there's a supplementary question here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, mine is an observation. I raised a number of concerns on privatization unit. But Mr. Chairman, maybe what I forgot to raise, but which Kenneth has clarified, is that some of these obligations are arising from the past events. And from the past events. In other words, they relate to the past commitments. From Feb, for example, salaries. From Feb to date, and up to, and maybe going forward to the end of financial year, people are not receiving salaries. Mr. Chairman, and they are Ugandans. Mr. Chairman, we are all salary earners. We know what it means when salary has not dropped into the account. Mr. Chairman, I want to suggest that we analyze this supplementary provision for privatization unit case by case, and we pick out items which relate to, for instance, salaries and probably outstanding obligations which may also lead to unnecessary penalties to government.
The bill will say.
And sorry,
say.
The bill.
The bill.
What do you mean by the bill?
The submission, what they laid the addendum, 3.9 billion to cater for salary obligations under privatization unit. Full stop.
So, Mr. Chairman.
There are no other expenses catered for in the bill. If we bring those others,
yes,
then we shall be,
so,
as
okay.
they say.
So, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Isiagi has enhanced my argument that we need to rethink and reconsider items in the request that relate to salaries, and we sort them out. I beg to submit to Mr. Chairman.
Now, I think the ministry will need to give us evidence that they forgot to include the salaries for February up to June. You need to present evidence of what you provided, what was required, and what is missing.
The man was going. We can definitely provide the evidence. We can provide the evidence. And the evidence is actually on account of what was appropriated. We can provide evidence of the people who are on the payroll of the privatization unit.
Yes.
Their salary levels, and how much money was actually budgeted for as a wage subvention for PU under Ministry of Finance. So
yeah.
We can actually put that in writing.
Give us all that analysis. Give us that analysis. And then the second thing you need to provide is a bill for winding up. Because we cannot continue paying for rent, paying for work plans. They are what they call work plan expenses. Whatever these ones mean. Then arrears. We are not going to pay this, but I think we need to wind up. As a parliament, we cannot continue appropriating money to this entity. What we need to know to get the figures for winding up this thing. I think that's the figure we need. We may not appropriate it, but we can bring it to the attention of the House. That this is what they need to wind up, and our recommendation is that they must wind up. Do we agree?
Yeah.
I think you have got it. Allow the chair to talk. There is also the Ministry of Gender. Yes, they need 2 points. I need your attention, please. I'm giving you information.
Yes.
My role is to give you the animal to slaughter. Let me give you the information. No, I'm giving you. You relax. Relax. Now, on Matia Kasaija, laid on table what he called Addendum 2. Honorable Musasi, I think, but do so quietly. He laid what he called Addendum 2 to Supplementary Schedule 2. You remember already had Addendum 2 in the form of COVID. You remember very well. Now, he's naming this one also as Addendum 2. So there I'm getting lost. Now, he laid this one on table on 31st March 2020. And he was saying that his ministry had received additional supplementary expenditure requests amounting to Uganda shillings 22.4 billion for street children activities under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Now the minister is here, Honorable Nachiwara Kiyingi, to give us details about this expenditure. I don't know how many minutes you need. You are raising what? An objection or what?
That's a procedural issue. Honorable Bart, when he was explaining, he said that there are things you put together. Yeah, I'm very careful with my public reputation.
But we have no.
Are you making a personal statement?
Not a personal statement. To the best of my knowledge, there is nothing absolutely I do with Bahati. So I want him to elaborate with the minister or with the minister. We don't trade together. We don't sleep in the same village. There is nothing, or except meeting him in this committee. I want him to elucidate. What is it that you do together with him? You can give people wrong information.
Because your word against his.
Yes. We don't sleep in the same village.
I agree with you.
No, we don't sleep in the same village. Same women? No.
Mr. Chairman, we do a lot of things together with
Finish.
in terms of debating in the House.
That's enough. That's enough. We do many things.
Okay, Honorable Nachiwara Kiyingi.
Thank you, Chairperson, for this one of the committee, the honorable members of the committee, and the minister, sir. All right, Honorable Chair, I'm here to give...
Mr. Chair, President with me, that the minister is senior minister. What is the document?
Minister, can you answer that?
Yes. If you are not ready, you know the way is there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Right, Honorable Chair, it is also true that we were not among the recently queried sections of the supplementary. So we are here to supplement just in case members have an extra issue to raise. But the original query was regarding
You give us.
the issues that we are highlighting.
No,
but I appreciate...
not yet received this result.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr.
It was withdrawn.
So, Mr. Chairman, this supplementary was laid on table. It is with you, the committee.
We have said that already.
You have said that, and you have,
now elaborated.
now you have asked the minister to shed some light, and it's straightforward.
But that's the information we want.
No, but if you can listen, because there is no need to hear let the honorable lady speak up, and then we see.
In fact, right, Honorable Chairperson,
Yeah.
I'm basically here to partly thank the committee of the House, because right from the beginning of the initiatives of street children, they have been quite supportive, both in terms of the committee and in their individual capacities. So this was an addendum to the original supplementary schedule that was highlighted, and it was our humble appeal that the committee enables us to complete the work that we began on, which was quite successful in many areas. And I would be here most obliged to answer any query that would arise out of the submission that we made through the Ministry of Finance. I thank you. The photocopying, right, Honorable Chair?
We don't know
2.4 billion.
Mr. Chairman.
Right, Honorable Chair.
Mr. Chairman, we actually don't know anything.
Thank you.
The minister is thanking we don't
Right,
know
Honorable
unless
Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
As we wait for the photocopy that is right happening, the submission through Ministry of Finance was regarding the balance of 2.4 billion, which the 2.4 billion shillings, which was meant to complete the process of evacuating, rehabilitation and resettlement of children. You are aware, right, honorable members, that all the children that we evacuated from the streets were housed in 144 centers across the city and across the country. And the process was that you hold them for only a number of days as you resettle them in their communities. As we talk now, we have a hassle of returning those children either back to their communities or feeding them and housing them all the way up to the end of the period when we get the money to sustainably resettle them. So we are relying on the wisdom of this committee to enable us get 2.4 billion for the following activities. The first part of the schedule of money is meant to help the ministry to resettle. The second, to resettle the children in the gazetted centers in two folds. One, we evacuate children from temporary centers. I beg your guidance, Right Honorable Chair. The first settlement, Right Honorable Chair, is to take children from temporary centers to permanent centers.
We don't have what the minister
Can you protect me, Right Honorable?
They protect you for...
Sorry. No.
Honorable Kajinda, you know, when it comes to ladies, you have them.
Let us finish, then we start.
But if we don't have information, we shall reject it outright because we don't know what is happening.
Mr. Chairman.
Right Honorable Chairperson. Right Honorable Chairperson.
Chair, the issue the minister is explaining has a lot of corners. Yeah, it's not something which is straight. Yeah. 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 Which is